When I tapped into it, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a video of him beating the life out of the stranger we met. Poor bastard was covering his face, begging the guy to stop.
Take it! You deserve it! Don't fall asleep! I want you to feel every bit of this!
Alright, what's up guys? RidaiKaist here, and today we are reacting to 3 very scary true Snapchat horror stories. So yeah, enough talking. Actually, before that, remember to hit that like button and remember to click that subscribe button for more videos. So let's get into the first scary story. Yeah. What the heck is this quality? Let's increase the quality. Snapchat ad friend.
I was coming home from work one night when I had to stop for gas. I parked my car at the gas pump and went inside to pay with whatever cash I had on me. There were already 3 people waiting in line when I walked in and queued up. We were all stuck behind one of those annoying lottery guys who love to take their sweet time buying and cashing out like 10 different kinds of tickets. So I ended up making random small talk with the guy ahead of me. As we were chatting, another guy in the store saw us and thought we were actually friends hanging out together.
He looked like the one from Silent Hill.
This other guy came over and butted in, also cutting in front of me to get between us.
No, like,
he had really light blonde hair and a terrible bowl cut like something out of the...
Alright, listen. Would you say anything to this guy? Be honest. Be honest. Would you say anything to this guy? If you do, you probably have a gun or knife on you or some martial arts experience. Me, I'm letting him cut in front of me. Like I don't got no problem with you. Like it'll take a couple extra seconds or minutes, but
80s.
you got
I just started talking like a total asshole.
What's up, dudes? I'm Timothy, but you can call me Tim. Hey, you got a problem, man? You're looking at me kind of funny. Nah, man, just trying to get home. Long day at work.
Yeah,
know?
man, you're good. You're good.
I know exactly what you need. My hotel's across the street, and I just hit the liquor store.
Okay, I don't care.
I think I'm all right, man. I don't really drink anyway. That's lame. What about you? I know you drink.
Yeah, I do, but I think I'll stick with these.
You gotta be kidding me. Who gets drunk off 2 beers?
Hey, bro,
listen,
you
I
need
got
more
the
sleep,
good
Bob.
stuff plus some. You guys got Snapchat?
I felt cornered into adding this Timothy guy on Snapchat, but I didn't mind as I barely used it anymore.
Bro, why would you bro, just say you don't have Snapchat. Like, you're gonna add this guy, and watch, he's gonna add him. He's gonna have his location and be like, yo, why don't you come to my hotel, huh? Why don't you come to my hotel? Watch.
The other guy added him on Snapchat.
Don't add people
too.
like this.
Then after that, Tim didn't really talk to me.
He's pushing.
It seemed like he was slowly convincing the other guy to leave with him. I was honestly thankful to this random stranger for occupying that guy so that he wouldn't bother me anymore. Eventually, they made it to the front of the line.
I would add him.
The stranger paid for his drinks. Then he and Tim walked out together. Less than a minute
as soon as you walked out, I would have blocked him.
I had paid for my gas and was exiting the store to go fill up my car. I could see Tim and the stranger crossing the street to the hotel. It was one of those extended stay places that looked pretty sketchy, so I was glad I wasn't spending my night there. After I filled up, I went home. I made myself some dinner, cleaned up, then started getting ready for bed.
You didn't block him?
Just as I was plugging my phone in, I got a notification. It was a snap from the Timothy guy. I didn't really want to open it. After all, I just met him against my will, but I knew I'd get curious and stay awake thinking about what it could be. So I opened it, and when I did, it turned out to be just what I expected. A selfie of Tim and the stranger holding up shots with a caption saying, "You should join us." I didn't respond. I just closed Snapchat and put my phone on Do Not Disturb, then laid down to go to sleep. Yet for some reason, I felt strangely awake. Something was bothering me in the back of my mind, but I couldn't tell what exactly. Maybe it was something I said or didn't say in that whole interaction at the gas station. I kept tossing and turning for hours, but nothing seemed to put me at ease. Eventually, at around 3 or 4 a.m., I resorted to scrolling through my phone. I went through Instagram, Facebook, even a little bit of Reddit before I finally reopened Snapchat. It was a trip down memory lane at first, tapping through my friends' stories that I hadn't seen in years, but I couldn't avoid Tim's story sitting at the top of my messages. When I tapped into it, I couldn't believe what I saw. It was a video of him beating the life out of the stranger we met. Poor bastard was covering his face, begging the guy to stop.
Take it! You deserve it! Don't fall asleep! I want you to feel every bit of this!
I was frozen, watching it all unfold. Story after story, and it just kept getting worse. When the guy woke up, Tim pulled his eyes open and started cutting his face. He stabbed him over and over, kicking him into the ground. The stranger was awake every time he was beaten or stabbed, and the videos were all a few minutes apart, like Tim was waiting for him to wake up to experience the agony he was inflicting. Finally, in the last video, Tim filmed himself slitting the stranger's throat, killing him. As soon as I convinced myself I wasn't having a nightmare, I called the police. I gave them the snap story, which led them to arresting Timothy immediately. But of course, it was already too late. The stranger's body had already been dumped after having been stabbed a dozen times and even burned. I think about this night all the time. I can't help telling myself that if I'd been watching the story post sooner, I might have been able to save that poor man's life. However, I'm ashamed to admit that the thought which scares me more is that it could have been me. This story was inspired by a horrific incident regarding a man who pleaded guilty to charges related for posting videos on social media of himself beating another man to death 3 years ago. He was sentenced to life in prison without parole. Timothy Kendrick, 35, pleaded guilty in June to charges of aggravated murder, kidnapping, tampering with evidence, and gross use of a corpse. The victim was 30-year-old Drew Mendelbaum, whose body was found in July of 2021. The police said Kendrick met Mendelbaum at a gas station, and the two of them returned to Kendrick's hotel room to drink. Police say Mendelbaum had been stabbed more than 45 times, beaten, and his body was set on fire. He was found burned and covered in a shower curtain with zip ties around his ankles. His body was left just...
There are really niggas that do this shit. Oh, bro, my eyes are starting to water. I'm getting bro, I'm legit getting goosebumps, bro. I'm getting, like, crazy goosebumps. But, dude, you're telling me there are people out here that murk people like that? Bro. What do you do to deserve that, though? That's what I'm thinking. And why would you go with him? Why? You don't know this nigga? He uses Snapchat. A grown-ass man uses Snapchat. You want to go with him? Get the fuck out of here. What the fuck? But rest in peace, I do.
Just outside of a business complex, investigators arrested Kendrick shortly after they said they found Snapchat videos of the torture.
Like, who's his profile picture on Facebook? Yeah, he definitely beats people, bro. Not gonna lie. He punches trees for fun. Punches metal for fun. Friend zone?
I moved out of my parents' place and into my own apartment pretty early on. I didn't have too many friends when I first moved out, and I didn't really know what kind of places I should go to make new ones. So I was fine with letting the social media algorithm set me up with random people. One night, this guy added me on Snapchat. His name was Lewis. I added him back.
Whoa, what
not thinking much of it.
Hold up. You went to add this nigga? You went to add him? I got... You want to add this dude? This nigga looks like the fucking... The fucking molded Krabby Patty. You want to add this dude? At this point, I might as well write your name in the fucking death note.
Began chatting after he sent me a selfie barely a few minutes later. The caption said, "Nice to meet you." He wasn't ugly, but he wasn't.
He wasn't ugly? He wasn't ugly. He wasn't ugly. But he wasn't my type either. I swear, bro. I don't know. I feel like women wouldn't even say to you, no, when they're fed up with you, they would say to your face, "You're ugly." But girls would be like, "Oh, you look good, but you're not my type." Then what the fuck is your type?
Either. Just kind of a plain you. He wasn't ugly, but he wasn't my type either. Just kind of a plain, average guy. Figuring I'd entertain
That
it
nigga
for
is
a
not
bit,
average.
I sent him a selfie.
You're entertaining this nigga. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. People like this, you're digging your own grave. What do you mean you want to entertain this dude? Bro, if you don't like this nigga, block this nigga, bro. You want to entertain and get attention. Alright. I want to see what's gonna happen to you. I want to see what's gonna happen to you.
Back, saying, "Nice to meet you too." We ended up talking back and forth for a while. This continued on and off into the next week or so, then steadily for a few days, and before I knew it, we had a best friends badge and a streak going. Once we figured out we lived next to each other, we decided to meet up in person. I made it clear from the very beginning that this was a purely platonic friendship. He seemed okay with that, so we hung out a few times here and there. However, the more we talked on Snapchat, the more Lewis actually started developing feelings for me. He started offering to buy my groceries when we ran errands together. I insisted that I wanted to cover them myself, but he was becoming more persistent, tapping his card and paying for it. Afterwards, I reminded him that I just wanted to hang out as friends. I explained all over again that I wasn't ready for a serious relationship and I wasn't interested in one either. He just nodded and brushed it off, almost like he wasn't taking what I was saying serious. But over text, he became even bolder about his feelings, saying he wanted me to put more effort into our relationship and that he wanted to go on actual dates. For the 10th time, I had to tell him I didn't have—
Yeah, but you wanted to entertain this dude. And entertain him. Entertain him. Please.
And that he wanted to go on actual dates. For the 10th time, I had to tell him I didn't have any romantic feelings towards him, and that I didn't want to be anything more than friends. It was getting annoying and weird as hell. The next day, I ignored his text while I was at work. It was just my luck, though, that my motorcycle wouldn't start when I was trying to leave, and nobody was responding but Lewis. He offered to take me home and fix my motorcycle later. I stupidly agreed.
I would have walked home.
Then he came to pick me up at my apartment complex. He asked to use my bathroom before leaving. I let him since he helped me out. When he came out of the bathroom, we went to hug goodbye, but something awful happened. While we were hugging, his arm slipped down from my shoulders to my waist. Then he pulled me in for a kiss. I began fighting him off, trying to push and shove him off of me. Finally, I hit him hard enough to get him to let me go, but it wasn't over. He backed me into a corner in my own apartment, then revealed himself to be the monster he truly was.
What is wrong with you? How could you do this to me?
You're such a goddamn tease. I'm tired of being friend-zoned. If you don't want to be with me, then I'm going to stop helping you.
I didn't ask for any of that.
If you don't want to be with me, then I'm going to stop helping you.
I didn't ask for any of that.
Yeah? And what about your bike? You asked me to help you with that, didn't you?
That's different. How can't you see that?
You seem confused. So let me be 100%
Let's hear it, Bob.
You either get all of me or none of me.
Then I choose none.
Yes,
now
sir.
Get out.
Yep.
You still don't understand.
This is her crib?
If I can't have you, then no one can.
Yeah, the Glock.
I hadn't seen my sister Kelly in a few days. I didn't think anything was wrong, but then I got a call from her work. They said she had a no-call, no-showed and left her bike in the parking lot, which was completely unlike her. She wouldn't respond to.
He's like, yo, if I can't have you.
Parking lot, which was completely unlike her. She wouldn't respond to any of my calls or texts either, so I went to her apartment and knocked on the door, but got no reply. Becoming more concerned by the second, I went to the office and begged them to give me a key so I could check on her. They let me have one, and then I went back up to her apartment
so they didn't go with you?
The door. When I stepped inside, I saw the worst thing I have ever seen in my life.
Body?
My sister was laying face down on the floor in a pool of blood. I dropped to my knees and sobbed, screaming, begging for it to be a dream, but I never woke up. My sister was dead. the police came, and they soon had their prime suspect, this guy she had been talking to who went by the name of Louis. They looked at my sister's Snapchat logs as evidence, then arrested him after
there's
finishing the
obviously forensic
investigation
evidence.
before the end of the
Doesn't
day.
brush his teeth
Ever
or
since she passed,
shave.
our family has been shattered. Taking my sister away from us was the most selfish act that a man
this
could
real
have
too?
committed, and I hope he pays for it by living in agony for the rest of his worthless life.
I mean,
A review of a victim's Snapchat log reveals the man's request for actual dates and more effort from her, with the victim telling him she was only interested in a friendship and did not feel a romantic
Is this
attraction.
nigga?
A man in Minnesota has been charged with taking out his friend with a firearm at close range because she didn't want a romantic relationship with him. Jose Luis Lopez Zique, 27, was charged for the June 16th slaying of Kaylee Grace Arseth, 22.
These shit's
Arseth's
surreal.
family reached out for a wellness check after she failed to report to work. Police arrived to find her car in the parking lot and her apartment
is
door
Snapchat
locked.
that serious?
A locator app on her phone showed that it was inside the apartment.
Snapchat this
so when she
serious?
failed to respond to knocks, officers obtained a key from the apartment management and gained access. Inside, they found Arseth face down on her
R.I.P. to her,
living room
man.
floor in a pool of blood, with an apparent wound to her head. Friends of the victim told police that Arseth had recently met a man online who went by the name Louis. They determined that the pair had spent time together in person and that Louis bought Arseth
The
things
internet's
on
free, man.
shopping
That's all I gotta
trips,
say.
but the relationship was
free.
not romantic or intimate. Investigators found Arseth's computer logged into Snapchat, where she shared a best friend's badge and had a streak that had just ended with Louis. After her death, Louis sent no further snaps to the victim. Police then began exploring messages with Louis, where they uncovered a frustration growing between them, with Louis asking for a romantic relationship and Arseth responding that she only wanted a friendship. Arseth asked Louis if he was available on June 16th to help her with her motorcycle. That's when Louis picked her up that day after work, brought her to her home, and did what he did.
This is why you always tell people what you're gonna do and what you're doing. So let's go on to the next story. The next real story, because these are real. Snap map. Oh,
A few years ago, I met a woman named Allie. We ran into each other while ordering drinks at a bar. I hit on her a little bit and managed to get her Snapchat.
Okay.
The next day, I
Okay.
hit her up to see
Okay.
if she was still interested. It turned out that she was, so we kept in touch for a while. Over the next couple of weeks, we went on a few dates. I was hesitant to
I
get
feel like
super
he's
involved with her
phenomenal.
because she still wasn't over her ex. Or more accurately,
ex-boyfriend?
her ex was not
Killer or
over her.
something?
The ex-boyfriend in question was this crazy jealous psycho guy named Scott. I could tell that Allie didn't want to talk about him, but she didn't have much of a choice because he was constantly stalking her, messaging her on Snapchat, and showing up
bitch.
everywhere. They'd recently gone through a nasty breakup, but it was clear that
Yo,
Scott
the
still
resident, you
wanted
got a
her.
job,
During our
old friend?
conversations, Allie told me about how manipulative and possessive the guy was. The idea of her hanging out with any other man would turn him batshit crazy. Even going out with her female friends was also too difficult for him to accept. She eventually had him blocked and all that, but it seemed like he always
still
continued
fuming,
to
bro?
stalk her. Now,
Go on
I'd be
Tinder,
lying
bro.
if I said I wasn't nervous, but given how much she wanted to be with me, I brushed the red flags under the rug. However,
She might
one
slam you out,
night,
gang,
we
I'm not
went
gonna
on
lie.
a date, probably our 4th or 5th one. As we were chatting and having dinner, Allie suddenly froze, and her face went pale. I tried to snap her out of
he's
it,
gonna
but then I
try to
realized
shoot
she
you or
couldn't stop
something.
staring out the restaurant window. That's when I looked over to where she was staring at, and saw a man standing right outside
Whoa.
staring at
What you
us
trying to do?
with
What
a
you trying to
face
do?
full of rage. I knew it had to be Scott. Right there
Bro,
was the
draw the
confirmation
boundary,
of
bro.
every terrifying
Box this
thing
dude.
she had been saying
Box
about
him.
him. That he really was stalking her. He didn't just stay outside the restaurant though. No, he charged in, grabbed me by the collar, then pulled me up out of my chair and started screaming in my face.
Who the hell are you? And what are you doing with her? That's my bitch.
Jeez.
Scott!
Your
Stop!
bitch. What?
Leave him alone! phone!
Shut
You
up,
said
you
my one?
thought. pH balance must be off from all the dudes you've been screwing. Listen, man,
Yeah.
don't do this. I'll
need
do whatever
punishment
I
in the
want.
jaw.
I'll break every bone in your body if you lay a finger on her.
punch him in the jaw.
Ah!
This
Luckily
guy
for
is
me,
trash.
As soon as Scott slammed me
He's
onto the table,
trash,
waiters came out
bro.
and pulled him off of me. But I swear, I was a second away from getting my eye gouged out with a steak knife. Immediately after, despite their efforts to keep him there to face consequences, he managed to get away and ran out of the restaurant, disappearing.
Pause.
We were asked if we wanted.
Listen, if there was some fucking Viltrumite Hulk dude after me, I would buy a Glock. Because obviously I don't think he does any martial arts or goes to the gym. So, mind you, I'm gonna buy a Glock and I'm gonna be like, yo, just get in the battery and be like, yo, if you touch me, something bad's gonna happen. And then if he does, then we shoot him on sight. Red beam, green beam, doesn't matter.
He managed to get away and ran out of the restaurant, disappearing. We were asked if we wanted to call the police anyway, but I could tell by the look in Allie's face that she just wanted the night to be over, so I took her home. We were also told not to come back since they held us
What the
partially
fuck?
responsible
Man, fuck you
for the
then, nigga.
damage to the tableware.
Man,
After
fuck.
that explosive encounter with Scott, I pumped the brakes on hanging out with Allie until it seemed like things had blown over. We weren't sure how he had found her, so we didn't want to risk a repeat of the same thing. Of course, we considered getting a restraining order, but we were worried it would make him do something even crazier. Plus, it would probably take a while before it would come into full effect. Before dropping her off, I parked on her driveway, and we sat in my car chatting for a bit till she was comfortable enough to head inside. The whole time, we were both paranoid thinking that Scott would show up again, but he didn't. After about an hour or
He's
so,
waiting outside
Allie
that
got
crib.
comfortable enough to head inside, that I waved
Out in
her
the house.
goodbye and drove home. About 30 minutes later, I got home and sent Allie a selfie on Snapchat with a caption saying,
The
"Good
dude better
night."
snatch and be like, "Yo,
However,
good night,
she
nigga."
never opened it. I assumed she had just passed out since it was late, and we'd had quite a few drinks. I then tried to get to sleep myself, but I couldn't stop thinking about that encounter I had with that Scott guy. I had this terrible
he's had a
feeling
crib
that
waiting.
something was wrong. I just hit that point in the relationship where I was really starting to care about her, so I thought I was being irrational, but I eventually couldn't take it anymore and got back in my car to go check on her. As soon as I parked outside her house, I knew something was wrong. The door was wide open. I jumped
knew
out
he was
of my
inside the
car
crib.
and ran inside, where my heart shattered. Allie was dead on the floor. In an absolute mess. I called the police. I told them what I knew,
these
and
niggas
it very
dying?
quickly became a search for her ex-boyfriend Scott. When they arrested him, he admitted he'd been
Hold up.
stalking her the entire time. He had confessed
Hold up. True horror? These are murder stories. What? Hold up.
to using the Snap Map feature on Snapchat to find her location. He had found the place we were going on a date, then decided to later break into her house and wait for her to return.
I knew it.
The moment
I knew it.
left,
I fucking knew
he
it.
killed her out of jealousy. I've never been able to face the world the same since.
I would have told her, yo, come to
This
my
story
crib.
was inspired by a disturbing incident
Of course.
regarding a Kansas man convicted of
Nigga,
taking
you
out
have
his
no line up,
ex-girlfriend in Nebraska. The suspect was Aldrich Scott, who was found guilty more than a year after the disappearance of his ex, Carrie Allen, 43, according to reports. Allen vanished in November of 2022, and Scott was initially charged with kidnapping. Police later determined that Scott tracked her location on Snapchat and drove from Topeka, Kansas, to her home in Omaha, where he then waited until she arrived before
line
taking
up,
her
nigga.
out with a firearm. Prosecutors had argued that
Get the
Allen
Vegeta
had been
hero.
on a date at a restaurant. When Scott tracked her location, Scott fled the country and was eventually arrested in Belize. Allen's body was found in a shallow grave.
Yeah.
Scott was sentenced to life in prison.
Good. Without parole? Better be without parole, because what the fuck? Alright, but yeah, check out Horse Roast Party, check out their merch. I don't know why I do crying, but yeah. But damn, bro, all those are true? Man. Well, I guess don't have Snapchat over the age of 23. Or yeah, bro, that was crazy. Imagine having a Snapchat and dying because legit people are crazy over you. Love can really do that. Me personally, I'm I don't know. But yeah, that was 3 horror animated Snapchat stories. Um, if you liked it, then really hit that like button, really click that subscribe button for more videos. And yeah, I don't got an outro, so I'm just this.